Primary 7. I welcome you to our third lesson. In lesson 1 and 2, we talked about the direct speech. So in today's lesson, I want us to talk about the indirect speech. Indirect speech is reporting without using the words of the speaker. In the indirect speech, we do not use the actual words of the speaker. The one reporting changes the other words and reports them indirectly. So that's why it is called the indirect speech. The indirect speech statement contains 3 parts. If you were to remember what we said in the direct speech, the other statements had 2 parts. Remember, in the direct speech, the statement had the speech tag and the actual words of the speaker. When we come to the indirect speech, the statement will have 3 parts. And the 3 parts are the speech tag, the conjunction, and then the reported speaker's words. In the indirect speech, we do not use the actual words of the speaker, and that's why we shall not have any words quoted. So look at the first example. Henry said that his sister was preparing food. The first example is, Henry said that his sister was preparing food. So Henry said is the speech tag. The word that is acting as a conjunction. His sister was preparing food are the reported speaker's words. They are not the actual words of the speaker, and that's why they are not quoted. That means Henry reported them using other words and not the actual words of the speaker. Look at number 2. The pupils inquired whether they would go back to school soon. So the speech tag is the pupils inquired. The word whether is acting as a conjunction. Would go back to school, they would go back to school soon are the reported speaker's words. Remember, a conjunction is a joining word. In this case, this conjunction is joining or connecting the speech tag to the words of the speaker. That's why we're calling it a conjunction. In example 3, Mother wanted to know when Joy would do some house chores. Mother wanted to know when Joy would do some house chores. So in this statement, the speech tag is Mother wanted to know. And the conjunction is when. Joy would do some house chores are the reported speaker's words. So an indirect statement has 3 parts. Sometimes, when writing the indirect statement, sometimes we ignore or leave out the conjunction. But most times, we use that conjunction to connect the speaker's words to the speech tag. And that's why we come up with the 3 parts, making up an indirect statement. Take note that in indirect reporting, we only use pattern 1. That's to say, the speech tag comes first. Look at my examples. Example 1. In the direct speech we have, I write to my pen pal during holidays, said Brian. If you have to remember, that is pattern 2 of the direct speech. I write to my pen pal during holidays, said Brian. That is pattern 2. Now when you are writing it in the indirect speech, the speech tag comes in the first place. Brian said that he wrote to his pen pal during holidays. So Brian said is our speech tag. The that is acting as a conjunction. Remember that. So Brian said that he wrote to his pen pal during holidays. Example 2, direct statement is, shall we have chicken for supper? Asked Charlotte. That is also direct speech pattern 2. So the answer is, Charlotte asked if they would have chicken for supper. So our conjunction in that statement is if. Charlotte asked is our speech tag. Then the reported speaker's words are, they would have chicken for supper. Number 3, the direct one is, how do you feel now? The doctor asked the patient. So look at the indirect statement. The doctor asked the patient how he felt then. The doctor asked the patient how he felt then. So when we are changing statements from the direct to indirect speech, we always have changes of some words, and the words that change mostly are the adverbs of time or the time adverbs. We also have the pronoun changes and also the tense changes. Tenses change, pronouns change, and then some verbs change. So let's look at the time adverb changes. The word today in the direct speech changes to that day in the indirect speech. The word yesterday changes to the previous day or the day before. The word tomorrow changes to the following day or the next day. Yesterday afternoon changes to the afternoon before or the previous afternoon. Last night changes to the previous night or the night before. Here changes to there. And now changes to then. So let's look at how some pronouns change. Indirect speech. If I'm speaking, I say I. So if someone is reporting what I've said, the I might change to he or she. If it is I, the one speaking, that I will change to she. We changes to they. My changes to his or her. Our changes to their. You changes to me or us. This changes to that or that. These changes to those or that. Then the word us changes to them. There are also verbs that change. Majorly the helping verbs. Helping verbs is and am change to was. Helping verb are changes to were. Will and shall, those are the helping verbs we use in the future tense. Will and shall change to would. Has and have are helping verbs used in the present perfect tense. Has and have change to had. The word must changes to had too. Was changes to were. No, was or were change to had been. The word come most times changes to go. Then bring changes to take. When you consider the changes of the words, then you can be able to change statements from the direct to the indirect speech very correctly. For now, I want us to end at that, and then we shall look at the tense changes in our next lesson. Thank you very much.